Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to today's live session. I'm so excited for the incredible conversation that we are going to have today because finally, one of the biggest confusions that I had in my life for years and that kept me stuck, that's the confusion I'm going to help you clear today so that in your life, in the goals that you are chasing, in the success that you want to create, you are no longer limited by people. You're no longer limited by ideas. You're no longer limited by the beliefs that we consider harmless, that we consider easy to go, that we consider a normal part of life, and yet they become the biggest blockers to your success and growth. I mean, it's like such a simple thing. Like, imagine your phone, okay, and there's a bug that you don't know. There's a virus that you're not aware of. And yet, that virus has the potential of completely distorting and taking away every single thing that's in your phone and rendering it unusable. You have the hardware, you have the software, you have the ability to touch the screen, press the buttons, but nothing is really happening because the virus has taken over. Well, just like that in our lives, what we don't realize is that we are littered with millions and not millions, but that's an exaggeration, but hundreds of thousands of different kinds of limiting beliefs, limiting ideas, and limiting perspectives that act just like that virus. They hold you hostage, they hold you in control, they make sure that no matter what happens, you don't try to break them, you don't try to step outside. They declare themselves as the ultimate truth. And the longer you believe in them, the more you stay stuck. You keep doing the things, you keep running through the mill of life, you keep running towards the goal, but you're never quite there and you're never quite satisfied because it was never the goal that was the problem to begin with. It was the beliefs, it was the way you were approaching it all. And the day you can get clarity on even some bits of that, you completely change the way you approach success, you completely change the way you approach your life. Now in 15 minutes I cannot solve all of those beliefs for you. I want to be real with you and I want to be honest with you here. It's not possible. But what I can do is I can help you clear out that big confusion I mentioned at the start, which was holding me back. It's just one belief, just one idea, but the moment you switch that up, you become someone who's able to take a lot of action in life. You become someone who's clear. You become honest. You become open. You become courageous. And you become the best version of yourself just by changing this one idea. And it centers around the way we define humility and arrogance in our lives. Now, the moment you put these two words out there, your mind will instantly bifurcate them into two categories: humility, good; arrogance, bad. Now, that is true actually. We need to be humble, we need to learn, we need to have this idea in our minds that, yeah, we're not God, we're not perfect, we're all human beings, we can still make mistakes, we can still continue to be people who sometimes make foolish decisions that we end up regretting later on. So, no need to fly too high in the sky. That's true. But at the same time, we define arrogance as bad because the moment the word arrogance comes up, we associate it with ego, with seeking importance, with being too heavy in your head, too up there, thinking of yourself as special and whatnot, and you are too boastful, and all these ideas that society has labeled negative, that society has labeled as people who should be outcasted, that society has labeled as people who are too not good. Essentially, they're not good people. Humble people are good people, arrogant people are not good people. Well, can I introduce you to the real way of looking at the world? The truth is, it's not black and white. It's not good. It's not bad. Everything depends on context. In fact, if you can learn to look at the world from this lens, right, that everything depends on context, completely change. You will have a much simpler life. You may not be able to explain that simple life to everybody, but the moment you accept that the world is a duality and that both sides will exist, that's the day you start finding peace in your life. But today's conversation is not about accepting duality. Today's conversation is about humility and arrogance and the beliefs they carry and how those beliefs limit us the most. So essentially, humility, as we define it, as staying within your limits, staying calm, staying grounded, not boasting too much, not talking too much about yourself. Well, arrogance is like, I'm the greatest, I'm the best, no one can beat me. You try beating me, you can't do it. All these thoughts that we associate with arrogance, with ego, right? Now, with these two definitions, what happens is over time, society confuses the action with the intention. Now, this is the crucial part. This is where the breakthrough is. So, pay attention and focus, because you could either get this, or it will go over your head, or it will confuse you a bit. But if you just stick through with it, I'll try to make it as simple as possible so you can finally understand the difference between the two. So, intention is the reason why you are doing something. Okay. For example, I'm doing this live session with you right now. I'm having this conversation. My intention is simple. I want to help you grow. I want to help you succeed. I want to help you become your best version. Now, through that intention is stemming what I like to call action, or the real thing that you're seeing here. Now, let's say I just have the intention, okay? And the intention is I want to do lives, I want to help people, I want to serve people, but I'm taking no action. Does the intention count? Not really, because it's not being backed up by action. So, at the same time, intention is important, but action is also important. Now, my action is coming out in this way because I have the right intention, because my action is aligned to your interests as well. Now, for a moment, think if my intention was a bit different. If my intention was, I'm going to do YouTube lives, people are going to come, and everybody's going to be a customer, everybody's going to take in my coaching. So I must advertise and I must sell every single day. I must push my coaching out there, I must push my product out there. Rather than serving you, if my intention is serving me financially, will I show up in the exact same way that I've been showing up for the past 52 sessions? Today's the 52nd one, with the same consistency, the same value. Yes, I've pitched a few times because that's my work. That's something that I do. And if you see value here, you're more than welcome to sign up there, to come into the coaching, to explore the transformation that we can create for you, because everybody is getting amazing results. You can be the next one. But do I do that every single time? Am I coming here every day just to remind you of how great of a coach I am and how much I am going to help you change your life and all that? No, I'm not doing that every day. I'm saying it as part of the conversation. I'm not forcing the sale. I'm just mentioning it to you. I'm sending out the invitation. If you want to explore, you're more than welcome to. But my major focus, because of my intention, is on serving, is on helping, is on connecting, is on guiding. And that's defining my action. Now, action without the intention can go anywhere. But intention without the action counts for nothing. So they're both very closely intertwined. I hope you got that now. With humility and arrogance, circling the conversation back to that topic, the problem that happens is we confuse the intention with the action, but they're both independent, they're both separate from each other. With arrogance, the intention is to show off. The intention is to make the other person feel small. The intention is to make yourself so grand that you can no longer notice your own insecurities and you can feel good by being better than everyone else. Arrogance is actually coming from a place of deep, deep, deep fear and insecurity. We don't usually understand this, but that's the truth. The problem is we don't learn to look at the intention, we only look at the action. Now, what are the actions that are associated with arrogance? Talking about yourself, being boastful, mentioning the work that you do, talking about your vision, mentioning your dreams in a grand way, talking about how good of the work that is that you're doing. All of that we have defined as arrogance. But that's not arrogance. That's just an action. Intention is where the arrogance comes from. Are you seeing the confusion that we have created here? The confusion that society has inbuilt in us. And over the years, rather than thinking of the intention, we don't even go there. All we think of is, oh, boasting, arrogance. Oh, showing off, arrogance. This arrogance. No, it's not that simple. Look at the intention behind the action. Now, just like that, with humility, the intention is to stay grounded. The intention is to stay connected to the roots. The intention is to be a kind, considerate, loving human being who is accepting of imperfections, accepting of flaws, all of which are great virtues. But again, what have we done there? We have confused actions with the intention. Staying in your zone, humble. Not talking too much, humble. Not bragging too much, humble. Staying realistic, humble. Listening to elders, this is the biggest one in our Indian culture, by the way. Listening to elders, very, very humble. Even if the elders are 1000% wrong, still listening to the elders, then the most humble person ever. But are the actions really conveying humility? Now, I'm going to give you a crazy example here. Could there be a case that there are certain people in your life who purposefully portray a false sense of humility so that you trust them, so that you get close to them, so that it feels like, oh, we have such a great relationship. This is such a humble person, but deep down, they're very arrogant. They're very deep in their own jealousy and in their own insecurity that the only way they feel good is by putting you down. And that's where a toxic relationship begins. You don't even realize it. Their actions are so humble. Their actions are of a saint, yet their intentions are not. But because you've confused what intention means and what action means, you create a barrier and you create a problem. What you think is humility is actually arrogance in intention. What you think is arrogance may just be humility in action. Because if a person knows, I'm doing something of value, I know my work creates impact, I know my work has the power to transform people's lives with my product or with my business or with my job or with whatever it is that I'm doing, not talking about that product, not selling it is the real arrogance. The action of selling is not. The action of going out there, humbling yourself every single day with rejection is actually the most humble thing to do. Yet, we will judge the person who goes out and sells. We will judge the person who's actually putting in the efforts and not judge the person who's trying to make things perfect, not realizing that that person's only insecure to even put their work out there because they're too arrogant. Their self image is too high up in the sky for them to even see the brink of failure. So they would rather not try at all and keep making excuses to themselves. How many people like this do you know in your circle? They have great ideas, they have great visions, but they try to portray themselves as humble. They try to portray, oh, but I don't really talk about it. I don't really want to do it. That's actually arrogance if you think about it. Because if you know your work has value, why would you not talk about it? Why would you not share it? Why would you not be selfless enough to put it out there, to make the transformation happen, to share it with people? Now, these are just a few examples that I'm giving you to help you understand why your false sense of humility is actually holding you back. You are confusing the intention of humility with the actions that have come to be defined as humility. You think limiting yourself to your resources is humility. You think not talking about yourself is humility. You think not pushing myself out there, not talking about how good I'm really doing, that is humility. Not charging my worth, that is humility. Not telling people the amazing stuff that I'm up to, that is humility. That's not humility. Those are just actions that we have associated with humility. The actions in and of themselves have nothing to do with humility or arrogance. So, the test I want you to have for yourself, which will clear up this confusion forever, is to ask yourself, what's my intention? And to be absolutely, absolutely honest with yourself about it. Not even with other people, just with yourself. For the longest time, I struggled to talk about my work. I struggled to talk about the fact that I made a world record at 14, that I published a book, and that I took it to number one bestseller on Amazon, that people left reviews that were amazing and they loved reading the book, and so much more. You know why I was afraid? I thought I would come across as too boastful. Ah, this kid made a world record once, now all he's doing is talking about it. That was my assumption. That's what people would think, I thought. But then I asked myself, is my intention to show off? Is my intention to boast? Or is my intention to share a vision of inspiration, to share an idea, to share a perspective that might inspire the next person as well? And I recognized if that's my intention, Why the hell am I confusing the action? Let people think what they want to think. Let them think I'm boastful. Let them think I'm too up in my head. Let them think I'm too confident for a 19-year-old. But I know the value that my work brings. I know the transformation that it brings. I know the fact that making a world record at 14 is a big deal. So why won't I talk about it? Because that's my intention. But my false sense of humility was holding me back. That was not humility, that was my arrogance, because I didn't want to fail. I didn't want to be judged. I didn't want to look wrong in someone else's eyes. And in trying to please everyone, I pleased no one, and I ended up being stuck. The day I understood that it's your intentions that matter and the actions is just what people have made associations as. What people have associated as a humble action today, tomorrow they could make it an arrogant one. Day after that, something that was considered arrogant before could be a humble thing. Associations always change. So stop focusing on the action, focus back on your intention and talking about your work, sharing things, actually creating the success you want will become super easy for you when you break the chains of the false beliefs, false ideas, and false assumptions you are holding on about arrogance and humility. It's not about the action. Any action can be humble, any action can be arrogant. The question is, what intention are you approaching it from? So as you go about your day now, as you go about your day tomorrow, before you join in at 8:30 p.m. again, here's my question and reflection for you. Think about all the times in your life, not all the times, but at least tomorrow, all the times that come up, you're feeling, am I being too arrogant, or am I being too humble, or am I being too triggered, or whatever it is that's happening? And rather than judging the action, just ask yourself, what's my real intention here? Be 100% honest with yourself about that. And I'll tell you, this confusion will clear up so fast, you'll be amazed. You'll get the confidence to talk about your work, to talk about who you are, to just be the right person for others, be the person you want to be. And that freedom completely changes your life. So enjoy your freedom from this moment on. Enjoy being your own person. And I'll see you once again tomorrow. That's at the same time. That is 8:30 p.m. IST. Once again, thank you so much. I'll see you soon. Bye.